Hey everybody, I wanted to sort of just debunk a lot of the misconceptions and misinformation that I see floating around on the internet about this concept of alpha males and beta males. And I know I've done a couple of videos on this. And there's several concepts that are kind of sort of divided across the videos. So I want to sort of bring it all together in one. Because I think it's important. I think it's very important because they don't fully understand what the term alpha male actually is. So here's an interesting fact. First of all, the actual biologist or scientist or white coat wearing whoever that actually came up with the term alpha male and beta male is actually on record after the fact saying that it's one of his biggest regrets, that the theory didn't quite hold up and that it's not completely accurate. And it's just not an accurate depiction of what's actually going on, and it doesn't fully represent what's going on in societal structures in any group of animals, including humans. So the guy who coined the term says it's not completely accurate. So why the hell are so many people still running with it? It's one of these things where the cognitive dissonance, where once you've believed something for so long and you hear that it might not be correct, your mind still wants to cling to that incorrect model because you don't want to have to go back and process the fact of so many things of your life being based on misinformation. Yeah, I was resistant to it, but the actual explanations behind it actually make a lot more sense, especially to you ladies. If you ladies are subscribing to the kind of thought that the bad boys are the alpha males, the bad boys are the ones that you'll run off and leave your boyfriend to go cheat with, and then go back to your boyfriend and cry on his shoulder for some other reason, that type of stuff. Bad boys, they're not alpha males. They project alpha energy, and that was something I talked about in my more recent videos. So let me just explain, first of all, the difference between alpha males, what it is and what it is not. The idea of the alpha male is somebody who is at the top of the hierarchy, the social structure, and we all sort of arrange ourselves into hierarchies, right? You all know anytime you're in a room full of people, there's always the most important person in the room. In any type of workplace, it's all over. You go to work, different positions, leadership positions, management, directors, executives. There's always a hierarchy. There's always a food chain. And the higher up on the food chain you go, the more important you are. And so the concept of the alpha male is the big dick in charge. It goes back to tribalism. The tribal chief, he's the alpha. Or the lead warrior. If that's, you have the lead warrior, the assistant lead warrior, the warrior management type shit, You have the tribal chief, but usually a tribal chief's fat. Whenever I think of a tribal chief, I think of like a really old dude, like either some dude in Africa sitting in a hut, really fat, who looks like Buddha. Whenever I think of, or a really old dude with a bunch of feathers, a really giant feather hat. When I think of alpha warriors, I think the term alpha male, when people hear alpha male, they think most about people like Jason Momoa. You might have seen him in such movies as Aquaman, or this highly unpopular show, Game of Thrones. There's also an unheard of guy named Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. These are the types of men you think of when you say the term alpha male. And yeah, the term does apply to them, but not because, but for different reasons. Because think of it like this: the that's what we think of when we think of alpha males. You know, the Jason Momoa, the Dwayne the Rock Johnson, or sorry, not Jason Momoa, Jason Momoa. Mimosa's a drink. There's more. That's what we think of when we think of alpha males. But think of this. Let's think of a few others. Would you consider Albert Einstein an alpha male? Dude's got crazy hair. He's a nerdy scientist. Motherfucker built the atom bomb. Wrote the theory of relativity, which accurately describes so much of the universe that it's still predictions coming true 100 years later. Would you consider him an alpha male? He is. You know, who else? Who else can you think of who's an alpha male? Well, look at Elon Musk. If you were to put Elon Musk next to The Rock, maybe just by physical appearance, he wouldn't. You would think that The Rock's an alpha. They're both alphas, but they're the same. They're different kinds of people. But an alpha male is not a kind of person. It's the term alpha is a type of energy that somebody has. It's a mindset that people tap into. And if the mindset that people tap into, if you tap into the alpha energy that's based on, you know, physical stature and muscle development and being able to fight physically, if you tap into alpha energy for physicality, you're going to end up looking like Dwayne Johnson or Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa. I'm just going to call him Jason Momoa because I think that's better. He should change his name. But there's other types of alpha energy. Now, where this breaks down in nature, I always hear people giving the explanations of alpha males like you see it in nature. Like, look at lion prides is a common one, where you have the male lion and he just basically lays on his ass and the lionesses do all the hunting and do all the work, and all he does is just sit around and just occasionally roar at another male. That's one form of it. But again, remember, alpha, that just because it's that way in one doesn't mean it applies universally. And let me give you another example. There's a little animal known as the cuttlefish. If you haven't heard of the cuttlefish, just imagine that one day you literally shit pure rainbow and your rainbow turd came to life and started swimming around in the bowl. That's the cuttlefish. It's this little blobby, literally piece of shit looking fish that can change colors, change shapes. It would be like what would happen if you took an octopus head and cut all the tentacles off of it, and it's like, hey, I'm a fish now. That's pretty much the cuttlefish. The cuttlefish is known as being one of the most effective hunters in the ocean. It can change shape, it can change colors, it can look like a rock, it can look like sand, it can look like your mama's mama. It can look like anything like it wants to look like. And then it has these little tentacles that it like shoots out of its mouth somehow and grabs its prey, right? Well, how do they mate? I mean, not physically. I'm not going to talk about rainbow turd sex. But the whole mating ritual. They have the concept of the alpha male. The males, you know, they have their territories. They find whatever rock has like the biggest love den in it. And then the cuttlefish is like, hey, you know, this is going to be my bachelor pad. And another little male cuttlefish swims along and is like, hey, I want that bachelor pad. And they're both like, well, you're going to have to fight me for it. And it's like, you know what? No, you're bigger than me. Bye. You know, and if they do fight, whoever wins, you know, gets the bachelor pad. And as one would expect, the females go to the one who wins the conflict because he's the stronger rainbow turd, and they want to reproduce the stronger DNA. But this is the beauty of it. And ladies, I want you to tune into this because you're going to recognize this. How do the smaller cuttlefish reproduce? You know what they do? Since the cuttlefish is a master of disguise, a smaller male cuttlefish, even the ones who just recently lost the physical battle, he'll swim away. And then what does he do? Puts on makeup and lipstick and makes himself look like a female. And then he gets in the little group with all the little females lined up for the den, coming in, and he comes in like, oh, hey, I'm a total female too. And he goes in with the rest of the females camouflaged. And so much so even the other females don't recognize it. And so he goes into the den of females, acts as a female, pretends to be a female, and then he actually waits until the bigger male is away, either fighting for all the females or whatever. But whenever he's not looking, the sneaky little male cuttlefish turns around and makes it known to the females that he's actually a male. Superior intellect. And the females mate with him too, inside the bachelor pad of the alpha male. Alpha male. So now which one of the two is the quote alpha male? Because now you've got the females reproducing with both the highly adaptive, cunning, intellectual cuttlefish who might have lost the physical battle but won the battle of the brains. And you also have the physically dominant, larger cuttlefish out there that they're also reproducing with. So, honestly, the term alpha male, if you're subscribing to, and this is what I want to be perfectly clear about, because there is a lot of good, healthy advice out there, books out there. There's a wealth of good, beneficial, healthy information about improving yourself as a man, about how to be the alpha male, and it comes down to how to be a better man, is what it comes down to. And a fair number of these books, they even tell you about the fact that an alpha male is not necessarily like just the bigger, more dominant bad boy. What alpha really is, what it comes down to, what alpha energy is it is the energy you find that puts you in an uninhibited, unencumbered mindset. The scarcity mindset goes out the window. The plentiful mindset comes into mind. When you have the uninhibited mindset, that is alpha energy. We're all born with it. If you've ever seen young baby boys before they turn the age of 2, when they're just learning to walk and not even really talking all that well, but for the first time when they're able to walk, they're able to explore the world and enjoy life, there is nothing more heartwarming and inspirational than to see how little young boys explore the world around them. You'll hear parents and friends all the time, moms, dumbass girlfriends, and everybody else. They all come in like, oh, he's such an alpha. Oh, he's going to be an alpha male just like his daddy. He's such a little alpha male. Like, it's that young mindset. He's uninhibited. It doesn't mean he's going to grow up to look like Dwayne Johnson or Jason Momoa or, Terry Crews or any of these. He might grow up to just be Bob. And Bob knows what Bob likes, and Bob does the things that Bob wants to do. And if you don't like what Bob wants to do, Bob says, fuck you, and does it anyways, and says, don't come around me if you don't like what I do. That's what you need to do. I'm over here trying to live my life and enjoy my life. If you don't like it, then you need to not come into my life. Doesn't matter what you look like. That's what it means to be alpha. So, take it to heart. Rethink your frame of mind on the subject. So, thanks again for listening, and I'll see you on the next video.